This episode of Play the Bay is brought to you by betonline.ag. Football might be over, but the NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are in full swing. And the only place you should be betting on these sports is at betonline.ag. BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. BetOnline has hundreds of props with real-time odds on almost anything you can imagine. And of course, the 24-hour online casino. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. And now, Play the Bay.
From Channelside Drive, where Lord Stanley Cup rests.
Time ticks down! The Lightning win the Stanley Cup!
Travel across the bridge to St. Pete to find our American League champs.
And the Tampa Bay Rays have just won the American League pennant.
And get ready to fire the cannons.
Lob pass toward the end zone. Gronkowski, he makes the catch. Touchdown Tampa Bay. What a great grab by Gronk.
Because it's time for another episode of Play the Bay. Play the Bay.
Welcome back to Play the Bay, presented by Believe Podcast and Three Daughters Brewing. I love that pre-recorded.
I'm glad that you did.
I was getting ready to say, I like that better.
I had some free time today. I was like, you know what? I should just knock it out and do it that way. I don't have to stare at the camera and do it. And then that way we just have something pre-recorded and we're ready to go.
Now, did you do that for eBay? Because I think that's where we were struggling on authenticity.
So no, I didn't do it because, we have to, read them in the middle of the show. So I didn't do hey, let's go to break. That's corny to me. So
that's fair. It is. Yeah, you are the king of transitions. But
thank you.
Yeah, if you're not aware, stay tuned for Evan's eBay ad read and just try to. It's a drinking game. If he messes up authenticity, chug your beer.
A shot for every time I mispronounce authenticity.
There you go.
Close.
I like it. That made it happen. So
I know.
Maybe different.
That's good.
I love that. How are you guys? How was your week? I feel like now that we're doing once a week, I feel like I don't talk to you guys as much, or I feel like it's a whole month between shows, even though it's not. So update me. How was your week?
I think it's been going good. Baseball, and Evan, I laugh because I'm wearing a baseball shirt about Randy Arozarena. He's wearing a Tom Brady shirt.
Listen, if you don't like my Tom Brady shirt,
I was saying before the show started, Evan was such a big proponent of baseball starting early, and now he's wearing football gear, and I'm wearing baseball.
I know. Gear. This is a wild turn of events.
That's what the Chiefs saw. That's
massive change in our preferred sports.
I'll tell you this, and the only reason why I'm wearing this shirt is because Fanatics is a place where you can go on all their affiliate websites. You can go on and they've got the 65% off store wide, 30% off, free shipping. I'm like, all right, I'll get some gear. I'll get some Lightning gear. I'll get some Rays gear. I'll get maybe some Bucks gear.
Oh, yeah.
But I bought like $150 worth of stuff, okay?
That's what happens, dude.
And, yeah, I was, it was like Christmas morning in my house when I knew it was coming on Wednesday afternoon. So I got the box, tried on everything. Nothing fit correctly except for this. I had to send back 4 shirts plus a hat. And this is the only thing that Fanatics sent me that fit. Like, I won't buy anything more from Fanatics. I'm sorry, but you send me nothing but crap. So I will now, this is local. This is from for the Bay Clothing Apparel. This is that fits
nice.
Fine. Their T-shirt that they sent me fits great. Like all the local guys that do the local stuff for the Tampa Bay sports, I am buying from them. Like Fanatics, you can kiss my ass. Like no more. This is the last thing I buy from you. No more. Don't tempt me with your
passionate.
Don't tempt me with your 70% off. Don't tempt me.
Those foolish discounts are just to lure you in to look at their catalog of merchandise.
It's like they send you like the stuff like the stuff they send to TJ Maxx. Like that's what we need to get rid of. That's why it's 65% off or up to 65% off. You know what I mean?
Well, of course, they're not going to put 65% off on the things that people want.
Yeah, like jerseys.
Yeah, like jerseys or they will put jerseys up, but it's as soon as the player gets traded and no one wants that jersey with that team and that player's name on it anymore.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think
shop jerseys at hockey games.
Yeah.
Football jerseys.
I'll tell you a trick though. I went to a Tampa Bay Lightning game a couple of years ago, and if you somehow forget a jacket, and you wanna, if you're closer to the ice and it gets kind of cold down there, I bought a pullover jacket there at the team store. It was like $100. I wore it throughout the whole game. After the game was done, I was like, I'll just go return it. So I went and returned and got a full refund. I was like,
Okay, well, don't let them hear that.
no, but I bought it from the team store the next day.
He bought it back.
I bought it back. There you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
That makes sense because then you had it shipped to you and waited a week to get it, but then you could have just had it the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping do's and don'ts with L. Bushman.
Yeah.
It had the 65% off markdown of it.
We're not condoning this trickery, but I will say shop local because Jacksonville also has like a ton of local. I don't know if they're artists, but they're definitely clothing brands that do Jaguars centric stuff. And I feel like those are the coolest pieces of clothing and they're very unique and they're not the same thing everyone else is wearing. So, that's a shop local plug.
Big shout out to 1771 Designs. Big shout out to Smack Apparel. Big shout out to For the Bay clothing line. Like those are the guys you need to go to for your clothing stuff for Tampa Bay area sports. So there you go.
Breaking pages free plug rule, but
I know. Working on it.
Kaylee, I wanted to ask you since last show, did you go to the Draft Network website? You didn't, did you?
I have not yet because I had a busy week.
Okay.
Which, updates at the end of this show, but busy week. I will go as it gets closer to the draft for sure, because I am, now that we're in draft conversation, with I don't want to say free agency is dying down because it's definitely not. Big things have happened just today and over the past weekend. So it's definitely not dying down, but I need to sit down and learn a little bit more about these guys in the draft. So I'll be doing that this week, but I'm excited to get my phone calls from the war room. I'm excited to answer GM's calls.
There you go.
All right. So we're going to start with baseball because we are going to open the show talking about a really controversial tweet that went up on the Play the Bay Twitter account. And I say controversial because it was a mere question. It was just a nice little poll for engagement, just, feeling people out, feeling what they think about it. And somehow it turned really hostile. People are very personally offended by this question. People were very upset. I think, honestly, a couple people lost sleep over it. I mean, Senator America, whatever his name is, definitely lost sleep. So we posted another day, another poll. Is Kevin Cash on the hot seat this year? The options were yes, no, and a little bit. And 84% of people said no. But the more surprising aspect of this tweet were the comments, and people were just very brutal. So Evan, you were in the comments, right? Like hitting people up, responding, having this combo.
I may or may not have been that guy that posted up the tweet or the poll per se.
I mean, the baseball poll, I think people probably have a good grasp on who they're posting it.
Hold on, let me pull it up on the let me pull it up on the screen real quick. See, there it is.
There we go.
I mean, 109 votes. That's pretty good. But the 84%. Obviously, a lot of people saying no, he's not on the hot seat, and then you got the yes 10%, and then a little bit 5.5%. So not all people think he's not on the hot seat. So obviously we don't know who these people are because we don't know who they voted, but it's a nice conversational starter, and it's just an innocent poll, and people lost their shit. It was amazing. And listen, I'm a Rays fan, just like everybody that commented on that. And it's, a lot of people were like, are you joking? Is this clickbait? I'm like, yes, it's clickbait. It's for you to go on and discuss and vote on. Yeah. But I wanted to pose the question to you two, especially, you, Kaylee, and Chip. Is he on the hot seat? Could he be on the hot seat because of the World Series? I wouldn't say, well, let me put it nicely. Debacle in the 6th inning for pulling Snell. Snell's no longer there. Like, could he be on the hot seat going into this year? Because, you obviously, it's World Series or bust with this team. They went to the World Series, lost to the Dodgers. Maybe because of that, maybe because of other things too. But going into this year, could he be possibly one of those guys that if he does not perform well, could he get the axe? Now, obviously, I know he got manager of the year, but we've seen guys get fired for less than nothing than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I will continue to hold my stance, and I answered this question many a times on the show.
I know.
And continue. Kevin Cash is not on the hot seat.
Okay.
He's managed the same way, the same time, every single. You could set your watch by
same
what he's going to do, how he's going to react, what he does managerially. And I think the only thing that we talked about, and maybe this will be another poll, could be, could not be, is can Kevin Cash deal with his players in a manner in which he lets them make the decision on their innings, and primarily the pitching staff, because I feel like that was our biggest topic of conversation, or one towards the end of last year, is that, I mean, I knew, and I think maybe Evan, you knew, Kaylee, maybe you knew that, I mean, Snell was coming out. I don't care what he said. I don't care if he was doing backflips on the mound. I mean, he was coming out. And you can scream about it, you can yell, but I do think as a coach, a pitcher like Snell has earned the right to go to you in that conversation and say, I can do this, leave me in. Is he capable of having that conversation and doing that? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think it's a little warm. It's heating up. There might be like a nice little heating pad under there, but it's not fully hot. Yeah, it's getting there. You know, it's kind of like when you first turn on your seat warmers in your car and you can kind of feel it tingling in your butt, but it's like, it's not fully warm yet. So I just feel like, obviously they've performed at a high level, but for a small market team, you really have to win the World Series. Like, that's the only thing that's going to set you apart, that's going to really kind of reap the rewards that you're trying to get as a small market team, as a team that's kind of been on that brink for a little bit now. And I think I'm just not convinced that he's the guy that's going to take them there. And that's just because, like Chip said, I don't know that he can let go of the reins and really develop players into players that can make their own decisions, or he can even allow them to really drive the narrative when it comes to those sort of situations, not even in the playoffs, but just in the regular season. And I think now we're going to see, because now going from 60 games to 162 games, we're really going to see what his management style is, how he's going to make that transition from a shortened season with an extended roster and all of these little caveats going back to a really full and packed season where he's going to have to really develop guys, really take advantage of certain aspects of his scheme. And I just think that's going to really kind of expose a lot, and not expose in a bad way. It could be a good way, but I think if they don't have significant success, and at this point, that almost just means winning the World Series, I think his seat is hot. I think it's hard to see them letting this continue just under the moderate success that they've had, right? Like, it's great to win. I mean, it's great in all sports to win your division, win whatever, but at the end of the day, if you don't take home the championship, does it really matter? Does it really count? Are you really accomplishing the goal? Because that is the goal for every single team that steps on that field. So I think that's kind of what we're going to see. I don't know that he's on the hot seat right now, but it's warming up for sure.
He's preheating, dude. He's got the PRE on his seat right now, the setting. PRE, dude.
I love how you say the tingles and jingles. That's how his seat is getting on right now. Tingles and jingles. I'm at a crossroads with Kevin Cash as the manager of the Rays, because now listen, I'm not taking anything away from last year. You know, he's been a great manager ever since taking over from Joe Madden all those many years ago. And when he took over, a lot of people were like, you know, who the hell is this guy? You know, he's an ex-player, been in the league for a long time, you know, never had any really experience being a manager at all. And he's taking over a team that, you know, for a nice stretch with Joe Madden had been a winner, you know, been gone to the World Series, gone to the playoffs, won the AL East champ, you know, a couple times. So I'm at a point where if you're not repeating and going back, you know, I hate to say his name, Stu Sternberg. Stu sucks. Hashtag Stu sucks. Like Stu and the rest of the upper management may have to say, okay, we might have to make a culture change here, because I hate to go back to the instance at the World Series is, him pulling Snell changed the shape. I think that maybe kind of defined who Kevin Cash is, because now you're looked at as a manager, and he said this in interviews the past couple of weeks. Now it's really starting to haunt him now that, you really have to look at your pitchers, especially going forward. And this year alone, that if you're not trusting your pitchers, especially in huge games like that, then, what kind of manager are you? Stop going by the analytics. Stop going by the matchup. Stop going by this. Let them be baseball players. That's what they're paid to do. That's what Blake Snell's being paid to do. Obviously, now he's with the San Diego Padres, but that's going to define his career. So if he doesn't go back to the World Series, I am going to say it's time to make a change and go a different direction than what we are right now, because the analytics, it's gotten you to the mountaintop twice. That's it. I think they need to maybe stop. Obviously they're hindered by their small market team. They're hindered by COVID, and you're not bringing the big name players like you are, but the small ball works. The guys that you bring in have worked, but that's only going to take you so far. It's not going to take you to the mountaintop. And I just think this is the year that's going to define him as a manager. If you're not going to go back if you can't get back to the playoffs and not get back to the World Series, management needs to look somewhere else. Maybe not in 2022, maybe 2023 and beyond, because I think fans are just kind of like, okay, maybe we should make a switch. And that's just me personally. I'll probably catch a lot of hell for this, but I don't care. I just think it's I think with a lot of managers out there right now, they just rely, I am so sick of seeing guys getting pulled so early, especially pitchers that are on a roll. And I maybe you can call me salty because of the World Series thing, but I don't trust him as a manager. I really don't trust him as a manager going forward. So I think maybe the Rays should maybe go on a different direction after this year. That's just me.
That's fair. That's very controversial, apparently.
Good. I'm
glad it got people talking. But guys, remember, you can just scroll past something that you don't like if it ruins your day.
Yeah.
You don't have to get so worked up about it.
Listen, Kaylee, we're in an age where people want to cancel Eminem because of his first 2 albums. So
yeah. There's so much more to talk about with Eminem, but that's probably not it. But just a reminder for mental health and wellness, just scroll past things. No one's forcing you to consume content, but it is funny. So it's entertainment for us, and it probably causes you to lose sleep at night. So, whatever works for you guys, works for us. But did you guys watch the Rays spring training games that have happened so far?
I watched a little bit of today, and it was tough to watch.
Yeah, well, it's been rough, obviously. It's
spring training, man. It's spring training. You're going to have games like this. They're throwing out guys that, want to make the roster and everything. So for people like, Taylor Maville, who's saying we're going to see a lot of this, it's the spring, bro. Like, if you take these games seriously, you're a fool. You're a joker. I love watching spring games. Chip, I know you love watching spring games, and blowouts like this are ways to go back and say, okay, this is what we need to fix. This is what we need to do better, and let's move on from that. It's not a big deal, man. But obviously with I think the ticketing system is a joke. I will say that to myself and everybody out there. Major League Baseball, you're doing a disservice to everybody that's trying to go to the games, where you let people buy out tons and tons of tickets before everybody else could, and limiting the amount of fans going to the games. And resellers are now putting tickets on sale for not only probably double but triple the price to go to a spring training game. So shame on you, MLB. Once again, you can't get anything right when it comes to bringing fan interaction to your games.
Evan and I, we were talking about this. Earlier today, and also before, is that we went and looked just to take a look at tickets for Rays and Braves, and that was the first game they played last Saturday, I think.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And I mean, tickets, I have no problem going to a spring training game, and I think I can't even remember normal rates, because obviously we've gone for the radio and we've gone the past couple of years, as media and press, but tickets now are going for like $25, $35, upwards almost of $50 to go to a spring training game and sit down, obviously near the infield and be closer to the players. But Major League Baseball really did get this wrong, and I understand with COVID restrictions, and you have to foster the game. You have to keep a fan base. You got to let people get out and follow social distancing and do all that, but don't let all the scalpers and excuse me, everybody else buy all the tickets up and then mark them up 30 or 40 or 50%, which is just, it's awful. We looked at like games ahead, and I mean, you can't find a game that either hasn't been sold out, and you go to a scalper, you go to a service, and you're paying, like Evan said, 20, 30, 40, 50% more, sometimes upwards of a couple 100%.
I have to continue to lie to my 2-year-old daughter. Keep saying, "Go Rays." We gonna go to a game? Am I gonna get ice cream and candy? That maybe we won't see a spring training game this year. We might go to a regular season game, but not spring training because of this madness.
Yeah, I think MLB just continues to kind of misstep when it comes to fans, and I think we've seen. It's hard to blame COVID at this point now that we're a year into it, because we've seen leagues and teams around the country in different sports do it well and bring fans back in and welcome fans back in where they're able to. And I think there's a way to do it, and that's not it. I mean, even the NFL has a grip on even Super Bowl resale, right? Like there's just something that can be done. So it's pretty interesting. I haven't really looked that far into it, but that's a pretty interesting perspective.
It's also tough too to watch them on TV because Fox Sports, they're on only limited channels now. Like they get contracts with a couple of streaming sites. ESPN's only showing a couple of games here and there of not besides the Yankees and the Red Sox. They're not showing anybody else. If you have MLB.TV, a lot of those games are blacked out. You can't watch those. So it's tough to watch your team if you can't go. So Kaylee, to go back to your question, have I watched any spring training?
I've tried.
Yeah. I tried today. Like I'm glad that ESPN had the Red Sox and the Rays game on.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that was on. But other than that, it's been tough to even pay attention because can't watch it.
Yeah. Well, and regional broadcast networks and regional sports networks are in such a bad spot right now. So it's getting harder and harder to consume local sports on your local network. So I haven't seen them really do anything from the league level that's trying to help that, but it'll be interesting to see. But let's kind of dive into our positional breakdown today, just based on what we've seen from the 3 spring training games and then just heading in out of last season's run and into this season. We're talking about infielders and the bullpen. So we'll start with the bullpen. Obviously, the Rays, like we talked about at the top of the show, they were really able to rely on their bullpen. When you have a 60-game season, you can really kind of rely on that area. Whereas now we're going into 162 games. You really have to develop these guys. And who are you looking at to step up and make an impact on this team? Who are you looking at the staff to develop over spring training heading into this season?
I'm really intrigued by Colin McHugh, who we just signed in free agency from the Houston Astros.
From Houston,
because that's a guy that, he's a big filler guy. You can put him in for 6, 7, maybe 8, or you can put him in the back end as a closer. Obviously, Nick Anderson is probably a closer. Let's just put that out of the way. Nick Anderson is our guy. But then Diego Castillo is also there too. He's your setup man. But you could also flip-flop Colin McHugh. And now what the Rays like to do is they like to go on matchups. That's the big thing with them, especially in the back half of the bullpen. When, their starters aren't going 5, 6, 7 innings, they've got to rely on those matchups going forward. I love their bullpen. Their bullpen was great last year, one of the best in the league. I think was the best in the league last year.
Yes.
I think they got better. I know they lost a couple of guys for free agency, but bolstering, they re-signed Chaz Rowe, which is okay. I like that. Trevor Richards is one of the guys to look out for too as well. But I like the addition of Colin McHugh. That's the big thing that I like is you're getting a proven guy that's coming over from a cheating team. Let's just say it as it is. But a guy that's been in the show. He's been to the World Series a couple times. He's been in the playoffs, and a guy that can throw some good stuff too. And that's the type of guy you want in your bullpen. I don't see any cracks in their bullpen at all. I have confidence in this bullpen. Now, when it comes to the rotation, which we touched on last show, that's a different story. But the bullpen, I think, once again, is going to be that Achilles heel, that main rock for them winning some games is, how well the bullpen's going to be able to be set up to win games. I have confidence in this bullpen. I have no like my bones aren't shaking when I talk about the bullpen. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Bones
gonna
are stable. That's a good thing.
my bones aren't
Bones
gonna
are
shake. Yeah. So because when it comes to the later innings, and I've got Castillo, I've got Anderson, I've got Fairbanks, I've got McHugh. Like I'm okay with oh yeah, let's bring him in there. I'm good with that. I'm not gonna say, oh man, we gotta deal with him again. Like I don't have I used to do that all the time with the Rays bullpen. There was guys that I would scratch my head at. They would come in for relief. And I'd be like, why are you bringing him in? I don't have that problem with this bullpen. So going forward, I'm good. I'm A+. Boom. And they've got arms still in the minors that they can bring up too. That could be in additions to that bullpen. They've got guys that they've got nasty stuff, man. That's why the Rays have like one of the best, pitching prospects in the world, man. It is what it is. Let's call it that.
I mean, and I can't even. I'm just gonna, I just tap the.
I know you can't. I know you can't follow that, man. I know. I'm sorry. No.
Well, no. I mean, McHugh. I mean, obviously, I think the wild card, and you hit on it, McHugh. He's got great stuff. I mean, he's thrown before his injury. I think for the Astros, he did throw a no-hitter. He's got great pitches. He can be a starter, an emergency starter if somebody gets shelled, in the first inning or two, and he can come in and work a game. But I think the length of the season, and we talked about this with the starters too, is really going to determine, when the bullpen gets called, and also our pitching setup. What is Kevin Cash going to do? Is he going to start with a reliever? I think the pen is deep enough, and it was deep enough last year where you could pull out Castillo. You can have him go 2 innings, maybe 3 innings and kind of work backwards. So I think the one place, and Al Bushman, you hit it, where we're versatile and where we have enough in the pantry is in the pen. So those later innings, and I think that's a reason why the Rays continued to get carried really far and obviously had a lot of taxing arms last year in the bullpen because there were injuries and things like that. But, I think that's the one area where I know definitely I feel everything is safe.
Cool.
I agree.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's kind of the one area looking at these 3 games that, they had top tier level talent last year. Is that the IPA of the day?
Oh, I already had one.
Is that the New England one?
That's new. I had the double hook to begin the show, and now I'm doing this one too.
Oh,
It's the former New England IPA. I had the double hooked, which is
okay. I didn't get to try any of those because I think my roommate drank all of those.
Are you kidding me?
So they must be good.
Sorry.
Florida
This is
Orange. I'm a big fan of that one. I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be my go-to.
I sent 3 daughters an email today about ringing up to get some different beers because I know we've been going through the same stuff. So, but which the stuff that we have is delicious.
They're all good.
They're all good.
And that's not usually something I say about IPAs.
They've got some ciders that they have. Now, I'm not a big cider guy, but they've got some ciders there that I kind of maybe want to try. So
I just trust them. Like if it has their logo on it, I'll try it.
It's going to be a good beer. That's right. I totally agree with that statement.
Especially now we're in springtime. The weather's nice. People are going out to the beach again, going to the pool.
Yes.
You get your beach blonde ale. You're getting on the boat. You're just drinking that and having a good time. Especially, and then if you're going out to spring training games, boom.
Yeah, if you are so blessed to go to a spring training game, take a 3 daughters beer. Let's talk about the infield. There's a few different storylines going on so far through spring training. Obviously, Choi looking for a bounce back year with the Rays, also winning his arbitration against the team. So now he has a nice little raise in his salary. Good for him. Love that. Love that journey for him. So people are looking at him to have a bounce back year. I think he's looking at himself to have a bounce back year. And then obviously top prospect Wander Franco is a huge name, has been a huge name. Obviously, wherever he goes, fans will follow. People want to know what he's going to do. So what are you expecting from those guys? Are there any other guys you're looking at to step up?
Now, you're talking about G-Man about like his bounce back isn't offensive-wise because the man's got stretches for days. Like I'm talking about
G-Man Choi, the gymnast.
I've seen it. And his muscles, his little flex on Instagram.
I mean,
he won his arbitration and then he flexed on Instagram and I was like, you might be my favorite person on the planet.
I mean, the guy can split better than most gymnasts out there right now. The guy's got skills. I mean, he's a stocky guy too, but the way he can my goodness. I mean, I tell you what, man. I think he's been working out in the gym.
He has.
Have you seen him in his Instagram?
Like he's a little bigger tater, you know.
I think he's taking a cue from Yandy Diaz, because you know how Yandy Diaz has got those pythons.
Yeah.
I think he looked at Yandy and goes, I can probably one up you with my arms, bro. But
hey, if you want to get on the Yandy sauce, that's fine with me, dude.
I know. Listen, I looked through our infield, and you're bringing most of your infield back from last year too, and there's an anticipation of Juan DeFranco coming up. And I think the big question is, if you do bring him up, what are you doing with Willy Adames? Now, Kevin Cash has said Willy Adames is our shortstop, but we've heard Kevin Cash say this before in the past, like, hey, Jake Bauers is our first baseman. Jake Bauers gone in the trade a couple seasons ago. So, it's almost like, but that's a good thing to have. They have so much depth in the minor leagues. They can call guys up, which they did last year and the year before that. When guys went down, they were able to bring guys in to fill in those spots. So, I love it. I'm going back to the infield, man. My bones aren't shaking when I look at the infield. I don't. It's not the flashy names that you're going to see in the Yankees or the Red Sox or the guys, the big $1 million players that you're going to see. But, these are the guys that brought you to the World Series last year. So this is the infield that's going to bring you hopefully again there this year.
This is a small market.
Yeah.
Blue collar. Everybody does their job, plays above their abilities when they're all clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a small market team is about. Everybody there knows their role and does their job, and they work together in harmony. That's why you return the starters, get everybody going, and let's go make it happen.
Speaking of harmony, I want to take a brief moment to talk about our newest sponsor, eBay. Whether rare dead stock or the latest release, find the exact shoe you're looking for. As the original sneaker marketplace, eBay is the place to go to cop the pair that you are eyeing. With eBay's authenticity guarantee.
Chug a beer.
Your sneakers are meticulously inspected by independent professional. I'm not even going to say that name. Say that word. A team of experienced sneaker authenticity. Wow, they made this so hard for me to
authentic.
Authenticators. This is so bad. Can you guys read this next time?
Authenticators.
Thank you, Kaylee. I'm gonna point to you when
I'll start doing. Yeah.
Verify the box, logo, and stitching, and dozens of other inspection points. Each sneaker also receives
authenticity
guarantee tag that includes a digital stamp of
authenticity.
Thank you. And also protects sellers with a verified return process. And for sneaker sellers out there, eBay has eliminated selling fees on sneakers, $100 plus, making it free to sell or flip your collection. Go to ebay.com/sneakers today. eBay, the world's best destination for discovering great value and unique selection. Speaking of sneaker reselling,
did you hear about West Coast Joe?
Oh, he's a dum-dum. Oh,
it's
my goodness.
Wild.
I cannot believe this kid.
Too much dip on his chip.
No, I got to tell you, Ma Dukes, Nike genius, 25 years, general manager of a continent of Nike, North America.
And your dumbass of a son. Your dumbass of a son. Oh, my. Kaylee, Chip.
Oh, God. Am I in trouble?
Well, you guys aren't parents yet. I'm a parent.
He's gone. True. He's out of the family.
I was going to say, if you're a parent,
you are dead to me.
Okay. I mean, she was the head of a continent. For God's sake.
That's right.
A continent.
Dude, now imagine this.
He should have used eBay. He should have used eBay.
See? Should have used eBay. Yeah, but can you imagine, though, they said, and I heard, that she put up no fight, nothing.
That's good.
Said I'll quit. So, that's good. Do we think there was maybe another layer here? Maybe Ma Dukes went to Junior and said, hey, pump some of these sneakers out. I'll get you 80% off.
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you think about that?
Well, he was charging, okay, let's put this into perspective. I read a number that he was charging like $100 and something thousand every like week or month or whatever, right? On a credit card associated with her. So she's making bank, right? So like she's got it covered. Her life is in order. I don't really think that she was in on it. I think it was just the fact of him just being way too comfortable, her being way too busy. And I think she probably is. Like, I could see my mom doing that, just being like, you know what? That's my kid. Whatever. But I don't know.
I disagree with you so much on that. If I'm a parent and if my stupid ass child is charging hundreds of thousands of dollars on my corporate credit card, not only am I going to notice, but my accountant or my secretary that works for Nike should notice this. Like, hey, Ann Herbert, by the way, is her name.
Yeah.
We've had some really weird charges on your corporate Amex. Do you know what these are? So she was like, yeah, I know what they are. It's okay. It's quite all right. Like,
accomplice.
You know why she went quietly into the night is because she knew what her son was doing.
That's right.
I'm interested to see if they investigate it further, because I know that there was a report about him not using discounts or inside information to make this, but if they come back and say that's true, I mean, can you fire her? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not illegal. It's just
frowned upon.
Well, there is an issue with the credit card because the authorization of you're giving a corporate card to your child.
See, was it corporate though? Because I thought it was her card.
No, it was a corporate card. In the report, it was a corporate card.
Okay, see, then that's illegal.
Well, he's also taking advantage of premier items that only some Nike employees, like some shoes that were only released to certain
discounts
people.
Discounts too. Like we're talking about the Michael J, like the Back to the Future 2 Nikes, like those
power laces, dude.
The ones that I think are only a limited edition. He had like 6 pairs that he put on Instagram saying, "I've got these. I'm going to resell them to you."
The problem that he made is that he posted all of these pictures with like hundreds of shoes, thousands of shoes, limited edition. Like he really should have done like a word of mouth kind of thing, like in his city, and made it more of like an underground thing. And maybe he would have survived a little longer, but
he should have done it like a drug dealer does. Like,
exactly.
Don't talk about it. Like, first rule of Fight Club, don't talk about it.
Like you should have to go through like 4 layers of security to get to this kid. Like you should talk to like the guy on the bottom of the totem pole, like the street guy. Then you talk to the middleman who has like the kind of nice house. And then your front should be the Chinese restaurant down the street, and then you have a secret code to go into the freezer and go underground into this huge section of shoes. Like that's the society we live in. Is, hey, look at me, I've got a ton of shoes. Look at me. Shoes. I've got shoes. That's how, because everybody wants to get noticed. Shoes. Like he could have gotten away with this if he wasn't such an idiot. Like shoes.
Oh, he was, dude.
Oh my God.
He was set. But he had to get greedy.
Let's reset it back to the race.
All right.
Reset it back to the race. Pull it back in.
Any final thoughts on the Rays?
Pull back in.
I love the versatility of Yandy Diaz because you can plug him in at third and first. Sasugo can be at third base, also in the outfield. I like that as well. So there's versatility all over the place when it comes to their infield. I'm gonna reel it back. Like my bones aren't shaking when I see this infield. I'm not. And then they've got guys coming up too in the minors. I'm okay.
This is a good area, obviously, for the Rays, returning starters. They have young talent that can be brought up. Somebody gets injured or somebody's season goes completely, to just bad. They have the resources to pull people up. There have been some early prospects, obviously, that have already come up and provided. I think it's Javier Edwards has done good. He's like 85th out of the MLB top 100. So they've got guys down there that'll play, and they're non-roster invitees through spring training. And we'll see at the end of spring training what we have. But the Rays have a great farm system. They have several prospects in the MLB top 100. So this is an area where they can afford to kind of move around, and if somebody gets injured or their game goes to crap, they can bring somebody else.
Yeah, Edwards was one of the pieces, I think, in the
Pittsburgh trade.
the FAM trade, I think, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think he was one of the.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah, because that's the slapdick prospect that Snell was complaining about was Xavier Edwards. That was in the FAM trade. Yeah, that was in the FAM trade. And the Rays, they love their shortstops, so we got a plethora of those too as well. But yeah, the Rays got, I think, one of the best. I think they were ranked number 1 last year in the farm system. So they're going to continue that on. They just need to win a championship to justify that. Let's do it.
There you go. Let's do it. And that was talking baseball. That was a lot of talking baseball.
I know that's not the norm for you, Kaylee.
It's not. It's not. We had some nice little side tangents to go off of, so it really worked for me.
West Coast Joe in
the end. Yeah, West Coast Joe. We had the eBay. We had a lot of things that we could kind of work in there. So do you want to talk about some Tampa Bay Lightning hockey?
I mean, we got COVID running rancid.
Yeah.
But yes.
Rampant.
I said rancid because
rancid's like chicken.
Yeah, rampant it's all over the place.
I mean, rancid, I like rancid because it's just awful and I don't like it.
Rancid is that you smell like a chicken breast.
Right.
Smell like crap.
Well, I think it's rancid. I hate COVID.
Well, so do I.
I think it does smell.
Yeah.
Could we be at a point that if they keep postponing games, could hockey cancel the season?
I mean,
no.
What are we? What was the season length again? 62?
No, it's 50.
50.
What?
50,
yeah,
something.
Short. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a liar.
To put it into perspective, like the Lightning play 16 games in March. That's a third of their season almost, right? Like that's like 30% of their season all in March.
Yeah. So we played 19 right now. That's the Lightning have played,
and they keep postponing games. But I think they may be to the point where it's like the point of no return. Like, we just got to keep keeping on by playing.
They're
games.
in the NFL mindset, right? And the NFL was so adamant, like there was nothing that was going to stop that season from happening, and they did it, and they did it with little to no. I mean, they had some issues, and I think probably some issues that caused. I don't want to say a turn of events. I'm not going to make an excuse for teams like the Steelers or the Ravens, but I will say that there were some like result altering moves made. And I think NHL is kind of getting into that gray area, but I will say, I don't know if they'll cancel the season, but they might limit maybe some like out of division games and just see maybe, I don't know.
They're supposed to bring fans back this month.
Well, there's fans in Vegas.
There's not fans in Amalie Arena.
No.
It's only like friends and family people that work there. So what I've heard was they're supposed to bring back fans to Amalie this month for Lightning games, which I'm pretty jacked. But according to Chip and is saying no, that's not going to happen.
How can you do that when you're postponed? I mean, I just don't.
I know that.
I don't. Yeah, like how can you? I don't understand how you can spin that either as a sport or as an organization to where it won't look. It's just not going to look right. It's just not going to look right.
Well, it's tough because like teams like the Lightning too are traveling so much, especially all at one time, right? Like so much of March for the Lightning is travel and road games, and that's tough because if you get into a bad situation with COVID or your players test positive or your staff test positive, now you're on the road. Now you're going from city to city, and those tests don't always come back right away. So then you're turning around and having to say, okay, like. Your game's postponed, your game's postponed. So that could affect up to 6 games a week if one team just gets COVID and doesn't find out everybody who's infected within the first few hours. So that's
they are playing right now against Dallas. It's 0-0 right now. So they are playing right now with no.
And they've won 4 games in a row.
Yep.
So definitely a team that's moving onwards and upwards. Obviously, the last time we spoke, they had hit kind of a rough patch and had tough playing Carolina. Getting through the dregs of the season, but now almost being at the halfway point. And Kaylee, I kind of agree. I think they're almost, once you get to halfway through the season, if you're the NHL, you're like, okay, we're 50% home. try to finish up as best you can. And I guess the only thing that can really happen is that if you see two teams just start shutting, like entire, like 2 or 3 or 4 teams end up shutting down because they can't. I guess that's where you might have to call a pause, but
they might have to do something where they did for the playoffs last year was, do the bubble for the playoffs again, which worked. I mean, it was probably
very successful.
Yeah, very successful playoff Stanley Cup run for every team involved. It was the most put together playoff scenario that any league did. NBA did it okay. I think the NHL did it the best when it came to the playoffs and the Stanley Cup Finals. That was the best.
Yeah.
way.
I think they both did. I mean, I think they did what worked for them, right? Like I think what the NHL did worked perfectly for them, and what the NBA did worked perfectly for them. And I mean, obviously the NBA posted 0 positive COVID tests the entire time they were in the bubble. So very ideal results from both leagues. It's just and you see both leagues struggling right now coming out of those bubble situations and trying to keep things on track. And so it kind of puts into perspective where we were talking about a year ago, talking about the NFL and saying, are they going to play? They're going full steam ahead. How's that going to work out? And it just seems maybe they're more equipped heading into 2021 than some of these other leagues who really kind of leaned on the bubble and didn't have to deal with outside pressure like your NBA players going to strip clubs or whatever they're doing. So I think the NFL has got kind of a leg up on them, considering that they've done it for a full season. They know how to approach a normal season.
NFL's can't stop, won't stop. They don't care.
They don't care anyways. But
but I mean, if you look at the money and the revenue differences and the amount of advertising and the things that go into that, I mean, everybody else is playing second fiddle. Yeah. I am still hoping and praying that the NBA just shuts down completely and that there's never basketball on ever again. Kaylee, we won't even get into it. Evan is laughing, but he knows that's so true.
That's a completely different show.
It is.
I don't. Go there. That's a whole different show. I do not hope that happens because I have a lot of friends working in basketball, so I don't want anyone else to lose their job in this.
I want March Madness to happen because that's good.
It is happening.
Betting in brackets. That's what.
Did you see that giant bracket on the side of the Marriott?
No, I didn't.
No.
Okay, it was 47,000 square feet on the side of the.
What?
Hang on, what is this hotel called? It's in Indianapolis, and it's called.
It's in Indy.
What's it called?
It's
on the side of the JW Marriott in Indianapolis. So it's a huge bracket. It's beautiful. Okay. And it spans 47,000 square feet.
Chip, we know the JW very well.
Yes, we do.
Is that where you guys stayed for the combine?
Well, we went to a conference there for the SMWW.
Yes.
But it's a very nice hotel. There is the giant.
Yes.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, we can trust that. You can trust local news. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Wow. The Indy Star is a very good news outlet. I mean, I don't live in Indianapolis, but
that's Pat McAfee.
Yeah, shout out to the Indy Star.
Man, that's Pat McAfee territory right there. There you go.
It is. All right. So is that it for hockey? Do we want to dive into hockey or do we want to wait?
Let's wait. Let's wait. Because I know you're looking at the chops for NFL talk.
I mean,
we can talk hockey.
No, let's talk.
We can talk hockey, eh?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Sorry. If you guys love hockey or semi like hockey, you both need to watch a show called Letterkenny on Hulu. It's amazing.
Wait. Explain to me what it is.
It's the trials and from the description on the show, which it tells you for each episode. It's the trials and tribulations of life in Letterkenny, and it's
okay. Is it like, does it open up where they're like sitting by the stand on the road and they're like very stone faced?
Yep.
Okay.
And they drink Pupper's beer, which I've been trying to get, but you can't get in the States. You can only get in Canada and sometimes in Massachusetts.
My significant other turned this on the television.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
The television, and I just stared at it, and I was like, and he was dying. I'm pretty sure he found it hilarious, and it was the end of the night, and I was like, "What are we watching?"
Tell your boy.
He's got good moves.
I wasn't feeling
Fist
it
bump.
though.
Oh,
Do
Yeah,
I,
we
do
didn't
I
like
need
it.
to make it through the first episode? Is that the case?
if you can't get Canadian humor,
You don't know.
you don't know, eh? And
You don't know.
How about this? If you want some history in Canadian humor, watch Kids in the Hall. Watch that first, then watch Letterkenny, and then you'll be all right.
Okay. I'll try it again. I mean,
And then
usually
drink
that's how
Labatt's
things go.
Blue.
I already like your significant other already. He's a
Right.
good guy in my book. He's already on the top of the list of guys.
He's
that's
moving
okay.
to the front.
Yes, he is. If he likes Letterkenny, good guy.
Yeah, he was a fan. I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to try this another time. I'm not in the headspace for it.
No.
But all right, let's talk Buccaneers because
Actually, let's reel it back. Kaylee, you talk to us about Bucks.
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. So
the
last
Bucks.
week, go ahead.
I'm gonna interview. I'm
interviewing.
I'm interviewing you.
It's a role reversal.
Let's do the old switcheroo on this.
Let's do it like Freaky Friday.
Yeah, there. Well, I'm not turning into Lindsay Lohan, and you're not going to be Jamie Lee Curtis. So
I would love to be Jamie Lee Curtis for a day.
I don't want to be Lindsay Lohan because she's a drugged out crack whore. So I don't want to do that. So no, we're not doing that. Okay. So
No
the Bucks
crack whores allowed on this show.
No, hell no. Well, unless you go to Oregon, then you can do crack.
That's
day,
right.
So, yeah. All right. So Buccaneers won the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
They have the 32nd.
Nah, shut the front door.
They didn't do that. No.
Okay. Sorry.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. So the Bucks have the 32nd pick in this year's draft. They haven't had that in a very, very long time. You know, they don't need much. Obviously, free agency is going to really impact about really what they do in the draft. You know, they could lose guys to free agency. Some guys might come back, for taking less money. You know, what do you think the Bucks' main priority should be going into this draft at the 32nd pick? Do you think they go offense? Do they really need to solidify the defense? Could Chris Godwin go in free agency? Do they need to get a wide receiver? Like, what if you're Jason Light and let's do the Draft Network plug. You've got the music coming on to you, and we're gonna play GM scenarios for both of you. Chip, you're gonna go second. Kaylee, you're gonna go first.
Yeah, I am.
What are you doing at the 32nd pick? Where are you drafting at? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think it depends how it goes, right? I think that's always kind of the situation with those teams that are near the end of the round, especially in the first round. You're going to have to wait for 31 teams to pick and then kind of see where you end up. But I think you have to go with an edge guy. You've got to go with a pass rusher. I think that's kind of up in the air with Shaq Barrett. I think with the assumption that he will probably move on or very likely could move on, I think that's kind of where focus should be turning. And, there's guys that have been kind of picked out and really highlighted for that pick. But I think that's where you go. And I think you could go out. Like if those guys go, I think you could go offense, right? And I think there's been some interesting analysis done about running backs. And I think that's kind of a position that you wouldn't necessarily go in as someone looking on the outside of the Buccaneers situation. But I think when you look at Fournette, very likely to leave, probably 99% chance that he's out of Tampa Bay. And you look at their need for a pass catching running back. I think it's more fun to imagine them going with someone like Najee Harris, someone like Travis Etienne from Clemson. Like that's a more fun decision because I think with Ronald Jones, right? Like you've already got your guy in Ronald Jones. You know what he's capable of, but bringing in a guy that can really act as that pass catching running back, I think gives you a nice little weapon to use. It puts you right in that sweet spot where, you're not relying so heavily on just run up the middle, get a few yards. You're not relying on that first or third down really situation that you were with Fournette, you were with Ronald Jones for most of his 2020. But I don't know. I think it opens up their offense a lot. I think if it gives Tom Brady a lot more options, a lot more fun plays he can run, especially Najee Harris is just a monster. So it'd be fun to see him with Tampa.
I love that. That's a great, but
I think you need guys on the edge.
Right.
Like I think you're gonna go pass rush, you're gonna go some sort of outside linebacker if you're set up for that.
Well, hold on. Let me preface.
Do I have to wait? Okay.
In reality, Harris is probably not going to be there at 32.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. I like both. I mean, edge, yeah, you're going to need that to backfill, whoever's going to go in free agency. If it's going to be Shaq Barrett, Levante David, maybe. I mean, I've heard Levante David's named linked to the Browns. We also heard about that with J.J. Watt. Now J.J. Watt's taking a bunch of money going to the Arizona Cardinals.
Wild.
We're going to say that for your new show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Plug at the end of the show. Chip, you're on the clock as the Bucks GM. What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to throw a really big party because we haven't picked at number 32 in so long.
Very long.
Really enjoy myself in the draft room and take all the time I want. I think Kaylee hit on a great opportunity. Obviously, there's going to be teams. There's going to be players towards the back end. We know that because of COVID and the combines and the draft setups, there's going to be a lot of players coming out of this past year who set out. So there's going to be talent that people are going to evaluate. And because they set out a year, they're going to slide. So they're going to drop down to the bottom. So I think, if I'm light, I'm definitely looking to trade out if any of the teams are looking to move in. I do like running back, but I think that I'm hoping some of the interior line, I mean, another tackle. I don't know if Sue stays, but pass rush is definitely something you could sneak out and grab. I also think running back, I mean, I definitely like the idea. I think Harris and Etienne are both going to be gone. I think either, Michael Carter from Carolina, I would not draft him that high. If you were looking for somebody like that, the other back, Javonte Williams, I think, is the other back who's rated right behind those guys. If you wanted to take that, but if I'm the Buccaneers, I'm probably looking for a lineman. So anything with the pass rush, depending upon what happens with Barrett. Obviously, I'd love the fit. The kid from Tulsa, what is it? Zaven Collins.
There's so many names in this draft that I cannot pronounce, by the way.
Zaven Collins. He's a 6'4" linebacker from Tulsa, and he used to play in high school. He was a 4-year starter at quarterback. He played linebacker and safety, and he's a linebacker. So probably one of the most athletic players in the draft. He could do linebacker. He could do coverage. He can do unbelievable things. And I don't know if he'll be there at 32, but he could be at the bottom of the round. That would be an unbelievable grab if he is there. But yeah, I think either if you want to go running back, you feel like you want to fill the hole, Javonte Williams or Michael Carter later in the draft, but definitely defensive line. It'll be interesting. I think they should trade back if possible.
I was just a great segue, Chip. I was just about to ask you and Kaylee, what's the possibility that, the Bucks could trade out of that 32nd pick? Because you're going to have a lot of teams in the second round that are drafting the second round like, hey, maybe I should bump up in the first, get that last pick in the first round to get maybe the guy I want that I could.
Well, Lamar Jackson. That's what happened.
Exactly. So is there a high probability that that could happen during the draft?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I think so, because I think Chip's point was actually perfect for that. There's so many guys who sat out, so many guys where that pivotal third year in college really kind of shows teams. And then without a proper combine, you just have these pro days locally at each college. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are getting scouted by the teams that we don't necessarily know or we don't really see. And I think your ability to scout as many players as you would in a normal year is going to be limited, right? So they're going to have to really focus on less players they're very interested in, not just seeing everyone at the combine. And that's really going to drive those decisions. So I think we're going to see a lot of teams get really good steals in the draft in the second, third, fourth round this year, just because we don't know what they're capable of. And probably a lot of other teams don't have them on their radar the way they would in a normal year. So the likelihood of the Bucks having some of those guys that they might be able to get later and really just get some trade capital for that pick at 32, I think is highly likely.
I mean, the steal of the draft last year was Antoine Winfield Jr. That's
definitely
hands down the steal in the draft.
I think you see a lot, and like Kaylee alluded to it as well. I think you see a lot of guys. I think that teams, obviously, how important your first round draft pick is. You can't miss, especially if you're in that top 10 Most of these guys are going to be targeting quarterbacks. We could see 5 quarterbacks out the window, or 4. Is it 5? 4.
4. Right.
4 out the window before pick 5. So, and if that happens, you can say yay for the Buccaneers because that pushes down all the defensive talent, all the other player positions, all the other key spots get bumped down the draft. So if I'm the Buccaneers, if I'm light, I'm hoping it's a quarterback high. Everybody, all 4 of those guys go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because that brings a player that you want who can be a contributor immediately closer to you at 32.
Cool. Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I agree.
I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to drop this mic and just walk away.
Kaylee, any last thoughts before we get out of here? Do you have anything going on tomorrow?
Nah.
You don't?
I'm just kidding.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I do. So tomorrow I am launching another show with my co-host Jordan. Yeah. It's called Onside Chicks. Get it?
Onside Chicks.
And we will be talking all things NFL. So all 32 NFL teams. Tomorrow's show will be a lot about free agency. It'll be JJ Watt, obviously signing with the Cardinals. There's some moves today. Obviously Kyle Rudolph, a few other surprising moves and releases and guys that will be wearing different uniforms. So that's what's going to kick off tomorrow's first ever episode of Onside Chicks. And we'll be streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and I think that's it, right? Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, we're not doing the Facebook thing.
Yeah. We're not doing Facebook.
Periscope is dying this month, so that's no longer there.
Yeah, so catch us on Twitch, YouTube. We'll be on Apple, Spotify, all of that. We're on all the socials at Onside Chicks, on Twitter at Onside Chicks Pod, and that's that. So
your co-host IG post about Kyle Rudolph today was pretty funny.
Hilarious. Yeah, if you don't follow her on IG, it's _sporty Jordy. So follow her because she's a great follow. I'm excited to work with her because I told her the other day that I put her name in my phone. I didn't know her last name right off the bat, and I put those little sparkles, like that little like bling emoji next to it because she makes me feel like that's how she makes me feel. She's just so like warm and like, but she's like loud and sparkly, and that's her personality. And she's from Jersey, and I just love her. So
is it almost like the seat warmer for Kevin Cash, like Tingles
it's
and Jingles?
Just like that.
Okay,
but in my heart, not in my butt. Yeah.
That's what it is, dude.
I think you guys got something going. That's good.
Segue. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So JJ Watt, immediate reactions. Kaylee, don't want to take anything away. Good teaser for tomorrow's show. So don't want to dive too deep.
One word.
Yeah, and one word. That's okay.
No, it's one word. Immediate reaction, one word.
Old.
Disappointing.
Old.
Money grubber.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are all bad things.
Well,
I think the Cardinals are out, though. I'm just kidding. This is my take. This is nothing. Cardinals are out. You just overpaid for somebody that never did stay healthy all of last year, but he's done. Donezo. Chandler Jones.
Here's my take.
Sack artist.
Here's my take. It makes them one win better, and that's it. They play in the toughest division in the league. Makes them one win better. That's it. They need O-line help and running backs. They don't need any more defense help.
Yeah, they need a lot. I don't know. I'm excited to see him play. I like him. I think the idea that someone said he was selfish is absolutely ridiculous. I agree with that. As someone who raised $100 million for that city for charity for that city and did a lot for that city, and then also walked up to Deshaun Watson and said, "I'm sorry, we wasted your years." I think he is a team player. I think he's proven that time and time again. And I think at this point in the season, I mean, we can just say, I think let's look at where he's ended up and what his situation is and where that team has ended up and what their situation is, and just see who is a little more credible in that case.
Say that for your show.
Best locker room guy ever.
Very, very good.
In the Hall of Fame. I would want him on any organization. Any NFL team would want that guy hands down.
Oh,
every player says that.
If I'm starting a nonprofit, JJ Watt's in my board of directors all the way.
He's
Well, he
he's
might not
the
work for a
guy.
nonprofit. 23 mil. I mean, 31
I mean, .org.
He's the guy you want in the locker room, and I think
Yeah,
if
definitely.
that's what Arizona needs, that's what they got. So,
I mean, I will say this. I mean, you got him with Chandler Jones, Buda
Mhm.
Baker, Isaiah Simmons. It's an intriguing thing. I just think they overpaid.
Yeah.
I will say that.
but good on him for getting out.
Yep.
Very, very good for him. Definitely excited to see what he does. I don't know. I think the biggest flex was the team owner picking him up in a plane and then flying him personally back to Arizona. And I was like, you do that. You do that. Because that was pretty fire.
I love his Instagram post. Source me. That's
because the morning of there was, did you see the Peloton situation?
Yeah, people were going bonkers.
Insane.
Fake
and personally,
Peloton account. Yep.
Yes, fake Peloton account. Whoever made that account should feel like an American hero, because what a ruse they pulled on the American people. And it really went over well. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh nope, here I am. Here's where I'm going. Source me. I loved it.
It just goes to show you that whatever you hear on the mothership or the talking heads is all malarkey. Like,
yeah,
always going over to the Bills, always going to the Browns, always going to the Packers. Like, there's going to be a team that comes out of left field and say, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, he's such a troll too, which I thought was funny. Like, he made he made free agency so fun because he would tweet things like the mitochondria is the powerhouse.
Only the dumbest of the dumb are going to read into that. Always going to Buffalo.
Yep. It's got the same amount of letters as Buffalo Bills.
They've got plenty of cap space. Let's sign them.
Well, I just love it. That's what football players need to do, like building brand. Like, that was fun. Yeah, that was great.
It's a master class in how to handle free agency and how to tell your own story and control the narrative of your own free agency. So I hope other players pay attention.
Unlike Deshaun Watson, who literally just screams at new ownership, I will not play, won't talk to anybody, and he's done.
I hope he doesn't play. I hope he doesn't.
He's going to hold out. I'm telling you right now, he's going to hold out.
I hope he does. I know he's a nice guy, and I get it, but I hope he does. Like, I hope he has the wherewithal to really say, like, I'm not playing this season. But I don't know if that'll happen, but
this is a draft day trade. We're already hearing rumors about it.
No,
it's going to be stacked. Listen to this. Just go with me.
I'm going to disagree with you. We're doing Play the Bay after hours. I'm going to put the banner up right now. God damn it.
Hold on. We're going to do go with me on a walk. The Jets are going to have to give. Hear me here. Sam Darnold, first round, pick 2, first round, pick 23, second round next year, pick, and Sam Darnold.
Nope.
If I'm Houston, I am curtains McGillicuddy. You get Sam Darnold, who is I feel so sorry for Sam Darnold. I almost want to call him Josh Rosen. I almost want to put him in that category. He's had no offensive line. He's been one of the most pressured quarterbacks. No wide receivers. Crowder's done okay. Did draft Denzel Mims, but you have to be upright. You have to be standing to throw a football. We all can't beat Marcus Russell and throw it 80 yards from our knees and then get bounced from the NFL.
So Watson's what, 25, 26?
25. Guaranteed franchise quarterback for the next 10 years.
I like the Jets because he's going to be coached by Robert Saleh.
He loves that match too.
I like that. I don't like it because it's the Jets. And you're bringing in a guy who's 25, 26. 25. And you're almost in rebuilding mode. Now, obviously, Deshaun – hold on now. Deshaun is your piece of the puzzle to build around, which is great. But if I'm Deshaun Watson – why would I go to the Jets? I would go somewhere else. I would go to Miami. Miami is like the best fit for him. Like, obviously, what Houston is asking for is way astronomically so much, and it's rightfully so. They're
going to get it on draft night. They won't get it before.
I don't see it happen. I see Deshaun Watson holding out and not playing. I see him saying, I'm not going to, and he's already said this plenty, I am not going to play for you unless you can get me out of here. And there's not even a handful of teams that are willing to maybe give up what the Texans want. And the Texans have to be flexible. And right now the Texans are so stupid. They're extending guys like David Johnson for another 5-6 years. That's how god awful that team is being run right now, by extending David Johnson, who hasn't had a good season in what, 5?
A while. Yeah,
a very long time. So why, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm going to management. I'm saying there's one place I want to go, and one place, that is Miami. If you want me out of here because I don't want to play for you, get me to Miami. So you either A, have to drop the asking price, or you've got to make it happen. Because going into this season, you will not see me on this field. I will do a Le'Veon Bell, and I will sit for the whole season.
Why not? I mean, at this point, they're not setting themselves up to be contenders, not only in the AFC South, but in the league as a whole. So what is the point of stepping on that field, risking injury, risking whatever could happen to you, when you could just hold out and get a chance to go somewhere? But I agree. I don't think he's going to go to a place where he's a piece of a rebuilding puzzle. I do think he wants to, and to be fair, completely fair, because he's in his prime. He's a franchise quarterback. Like, he's a guy that can really come and lead a team to the promised land if he's given the right resources. But he's going to want to go to a team where he is the last puzzle piece to fill. And if that's the case, then I think he's on
Chip. He is done. He is done with the rebuilding. He is done with doing all that. That's why the Jets, although appealing because you're bringing in a new regime, and you could get draft picks, you could get all this clout.
You guys are silly pants magoos. Do you know what?
I'm telling you, he's either gonna say, "Get me to Miami," or I'm gonna sit out. And more than likely he's gonna sit out, because Miami's gonna say, "You know what? We've got Tua, we've got 2 first-round draft picks. We're gonna bring pieces in. We're gonna be okay. We don't need to bring in Deshaun." So if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm sitting out until they can get it together.
All right. So Deshaun Watson came out at the end of January, beginning of February, when he requested a trade. He listed 5 teams. Do you know what the number 1 team was he wanted to be traded to?
The Jets.
Yes. So I understand both of your point of views, but you can't tell me that Deshaun Watson doesn't want to go to the Jets when he said that's the number 1 place I want to go.
I get it. It's New York. You're on the biggest stage. I mean, that's the media central besides LA. But you're going to a team that's got nothing. Like, you're basically going
to the top destination.
Why
did he say that?
You're going.
I understand what you're saying. You're telling me the reason
I'm not Deshaun Watson, because
I know
to me, if he's going
destination,
to me that it's a question mark to me, because you're going from nothing to nothing. Why? So unless you're going to go because you're in one of the biggest stages in the world, and you can say, "Hey, I'm going here. I could probably recruit guys to come there." Maybe that's an intriguing situation, and you possibly have a good leader in Robert Saleh, which is great too, because he could be a leader of men. But I just don't see it. You're going from nothing to nothing, because right now the Jets have nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe Deshaun Watson's freaking crazy, dude.
Maybe he is.
I think he cares. I think he cares a lot about culture. I think he cared a lot more about culture right when that started, because the issue in Houston was culture, right? Like, they told him, "We're going to let you be involved in this and that and that." And at the end of the day, it didn't happen. They went behind his back. They undermined him. They undermined what was written in his contract. All of these things that they did to him were culture issues. And we've seen it play out with JJ Watt. We've seen it play out over the past few months, where they just keep shooting themselves in the foot because they're not establishing the right culture. And that started with Bill O'Brien, and it started and it's seeping into every facet of this organization. So I can see right at the jump when you say, like, I want to be traded, I want to go somewhere else. You would pay. Robert Saleh is getting high remarks from everyone, right? Like, he's getting endorsed by every player that has ever interacted with him, talking about how great of a culture builder he is. That's why they went out of their way to get him. So but then again, we're not on the inside of any of this stuff. So could be facets of the Jets that just we don't know, and he does know. And there could be culture things that really give them the opportunity to believe that they're going to be a contender next year. But I think the longer he sits, the more he's going to realize his fading prime years and he really is going to want to get somewhere. But that doesn't mean that the Jets won't be that place. It just means right now I can't even fathom how they would potentially be a contender within the next 2 years. But I mean, I don't know. Because
if I was Watson, like we don't know the mindset of it because he.
Oh no, we do. He told us his mindset.
Is Evan frozen?
Oh God, he froze. But yeah, so going on what he said. Now, I totally agree with you. Miami was a team with a winning record, no state tax, got a great culture, has a defense assembled, and is going to have, just like the Jets, though, these are the two teams that are the front runners. They have
Miami is a quarterback away from winning that division and going deep into the playoffs. And that's where I think, like, if he goes and says, I want to go to New York because there could be something special here with what they're trying to build. But they've Miami's already set up. Like, it's already set up for him to come in and win.
That means Miami wasted a draft pick on Tua.
But at least they move on, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's the mistake of a lot of teams is not moving on quick enough. I mean, the Jaguars are a prime example. You know how many Blake Bortles games I sat through? Like, that is just one of those things where I would rather them move on from Tua and understand that this is an opportunity and give Tua the opportunity to go somewhere. Like, I mean, I think Tua is going to fall in one of those categories where it's, he's not a Josh Rosen, obviously, but, he could turn into a Sam Darnold type where he just needs to be in the right place, and then maybe he'll pop off and maybe he'll be this insane quarterback. But I just don't know that Miami is that place. But they have a great culture too. So,
dude, how can people write off quarterbacks when they don't even play a season? He didn't even play a half season.
I know.
You're wasting. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Josh Rosen should go in the FCF and just join Johnny.
Well, Josh Rosen's a completely different story. But I mean, Tua Tagovailoa is somebody who had hip surgery. And he's somebody that wasn't even at full strength
twice.
And it's somebody that's not even, he didn't even play a full season. And he was a rookie. And people already want to write him off. You may as well take a first-round draft pick and set it on fire.
If I'm Miami and I have the opportunity to trade for Deshaun Watson, I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to give you Tua. I'm going to flip Tua. I'll give you one of my first rounders. I'll give you a first rounder, Tua, maybe a second, and then that's a package deal for Watson.
That's awful. That's not even close to what the Jets can give.
No, I'm not talking about the Jets. I'm talking about.
Oh, I know. But if you're the organization of Houston, why in the hell would you do that when you get another first?
It just seems like Bill O'Brien's still running the show in Houston, and they're extending David Johnson. So
one has nothing to do with the other.
Well, the whole weird situation about this is like Houston has. It's almost like Houston has everything by the nuts because. We could pull the trigger on a trade. We don't have to, but also like Deshaun has the power.
Well, he has a no trade clause for certain teams. So
exactly.
Okay. So
it's like
they don't really have leverage in that area. They have to trade him to a team that he picks.
They both have each other by the nuts. Let's just say that. Like Tua could say, I'm not going to play. And then like Houston can go, okay, well, you're either going to go here or there. You know what I mean? So
you're Houston. You can have a first-round pick sitting on your bench, paying for money that you're not using, or you come together and say, okay, this guy's going to sit draft night, maximize your capital because somebody's going to call. So here we go.
I think what Houston needs to do is maybe lower their expectations.
Why?
I think they're going to have to.
I don't even think they want to because I don't think they want to get rid of him. Like they have no intention of him leaving this.
But
team.
if he's not going to play,
yeah, well that's something I think they'll explore later down the line. But I think heading into this season, I think they're going to let him sit and they're going to say we want him to be here. And it's such a toxic environment because it's like I don't know. It just goes against everything that this league is evolving into, where we've seen quarterbacks just really take control of where they are and be able to leave places and start new and do what Tom Brady did and go somewhere else and bring people with you. And this NBA style of moving around and personnel changes. And that goes directly against, I mean, you're leaning into not treating him like a human being. And it's a little tough. It's like tough to see. And it's tough to hear that just have no intention of trading him when he so obviously does not want to be there.
It's crazy how the Stafford Goff trade happened, where it was a big blockbuster deal, and then when the Wentz thing happened, it was just like a whimper.
Yeah,
Like that's all the Eagles got for Wentz, and
it was kind of wild.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, it's still kind of to be determined how Wentz is going to do in Indy, but like now, the focal point of the quarterback of who want, and even the Russell Wilson moves, like rumors are going around, like, hey,
Yeah.
Even the mayor of New Orleans has
Yes.
put out an Instagram video saying, "We want you." Like your wife Sierra could be the head of, could be the focal point of the Essence, show in New Orleans. Like it's so wild that, where, I don't think that, well, the Saints could do a sign and trade. They could say, we'll give you Winston and Michael Thomas, or we can give you Michael Thomas and Taysom Hill for Winston, for Wilson, and bring you over. Like there's so many scenarios, but I love the fact that players are now saying they're going to dictate of where they want to go now. It's, you could harken back to the era of John Elway, where he didn't want to play for Tampa, where Eli didn't want to play for San Diego. Like those, like now it's come to the forefront where guys are actually in the league saying, I don't want to go. I don't want to play there anymore.
Yeah.
So like this season is become so wild with the moves that have happened so far. It's even to become even crazier because you've got superstars that are saying, I want out of this place or I'm not going to play. Even though Russell Wilson's like, I kind of want to stay here, but you got to bring guys around me. Like,
yeah.
You know what
I mean? That's the thing. And I love it because people can talk shit on athletes all they want. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money they're making. Those guys make that team so much money. Like those specific guys, those single names on those teams are the ones bringing in the money. And they've never really been treated or viewed or heard as such within the organization, right? Like even in the coaching, I mean, there's not a lot of places letting players dictate plays or how the games go or schemes on the field, much less dictating or being even heard in conversations like who are we going to hire in the GM position or who are we going to hire in the head coach position. So if we can transition over to that, like these guys, the average NFL career is 3 years. These guys don't have a lot of time, and to spend it in a toxic work environment. I mean, can you imagine being told you can't leave your job, and if it's a toxic work environment, no, you just have to stay? It's like, it's a wild thing because people don't understand that athletes are just human beings, but they are. So I'm glad that this is happening.
Dude, this will be this draft. We are going to see at the end of free agency, and free agency starts the 14th. We're going to see teams are going to have to start to make moves and decisions, because when the draft comes up, and all those quarterbacks that we're talking about, the Zach Wilsons, the Justin Fields, the, Trevor Lawrence, those guys, and then you have Lance. If teams like the Bears, the Patriots, the Saints, Jameis Winston's a free agent this year. I think they're going to have to pay. He's going to get bid up because there are so many teams right now exploring quarterback options, quarterback trades. We've heard about Vegas. Raiders, they want Winston. So I mean, so many teams after those top 4 teams in the draft need quarterbacks. If free agency doesn't get to the point of where teams need it to be, you're going to see anxiety is going to build, desperation is going to start to set in, and then 30 days is going to pass, and then the draft is going to be here, and teams like Carolina sitting down there, dude, out of the right before the top 10. I think they're 8, Denver's 9, and they're talking about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So that 8, 9, and then you have, the Patriots are back there. You got other teams that, San Francisco, I think, is at 12. They need to trade Jimmy Garoppolo if they don't think he's the real deal. So that's another name that could get out there.
I think stays. He stays in San Fran.
Lynch has already come out and said that he is going to stay, but I got to tell you, I think free agency, like the next couple of weeks, you're going to see team. Yeah, we'll see what builds. But, man, draft night, dude, buckle your seatbelts, kids.
Can't wait. We got to do a special draft show.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
We're going to, you know what? We're going to have all the squares on this background filled up with people. We'll have Kristen and Taylor. We'll have Jordan on here. We'll have a round robin of people coming on. I can't wait for draft night.
Now, didn't we talk last year about trades and then none happened? What do we see?
not
Do we
happening.
see that actually taking place again this year?
I
No.
see.
I
You
think
don't see-
I mean,
Really?
I think it's going to happen because I think there's so many. This draft is so different. Just given what, like, even though last year's draft was virtual, there was just you had the combine. Everything was business as usual up until the draft. I mean, this year there's so many unknowns. There's so many things probably behind the scenes. I think fans have never been more out of the loop when it comes to upcoming talent than they have been this year. So I think there's a lot of things that we don't have a grasp on, and we probably won't until draft night. So I think there's going to be a lot of.
You're going to hear that down,
A lot, yeah.
a lot. I'm
going to make it my ringtone.
It's going to be bananas. On like we got to make sure we got Paige from the draft network. Oh, on the draft network here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
we got to get her back. We got to get her here and then on Onside Chicks to talk draft before then. But I mean, this got out of hand.
I know it did.
So,
but aren't you excited though? I'm about to go do a draft network simulation.
I'm excited. I'm making my ringtone the little and I'm getting on the draft network. But any final thoughts before we close out? I mean, if we haven't talked Tampa Bay sports in 30 minutes, so sorry, but
no, that's okay.
That's fine.
After hours version.
Believe we'll cut it down. It's fine. We'll take the first.
Looking forward to the free agents. Just keep on rolling. Hopefully people will keep signing, but next week will be huge. Franchise tags will be shut down by this day next week. So we'll see if Godwin got it and who else got it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PlayTheBayTB, Apple, Spotify, rate, review, subscribe, get yourself
smack the like button.
Yes, smack the like button, leave positive reviews, get
subscribe.
Some Three Daughters beer, buy some shoes on eBay, and we'll catch you guys next week
on the flippity flop.
Mm-hmm.
Go Bucs.
Thanks for listening to Play the Bay. We'll be back again with another episode on the Believe Podcasting Network. If interested in advertising, please contact Believe.com.